Hi everyone, I'm back with my Christmas card series. Today, again, watercolour card. I am going to do a Christmas type fir tree. So I'm going to wet the paper. These are a wood pulp cards, so I can't put as much water on as I would normally for a cotton paper. So I need to be nice and quick. I have taped the corners, that one's escaped, just to hold it down and steady. I'll talk you through the colours as I go. So this first one that I've mixed up is Viridian and Burnt Sienna. So I've got a nice natural green, and then next to this I've got a bit of Prussian blue. So the first colour that I'm going to come in with, and I'm using a round number 6 to do this, is a bit of Prussian blue. I want this to vignette a bit towards the edges, so I'm not going to go mad. Take a little bit more water on. Prussian blue is quite shooty. It's from the phthalo pigment, so you do tend to get different effects with different blues. I don't want this to be a too dominant background. Going fairly pale. Just take a little bit in places. So if you do that circular motion, you'll get a much more sort of cloudy sky effect. Then with that same round number 6, so I've rinsed my brush, dried it off. I'm coming into this really thick colour, so there's hardly any water in this. I'm going to start from the middle because I want to see how much it's going to shoot. Should have a nice natural fir tree green. If you start from the middle, then you're much more in control of the paint. You're sweeping down and out. So if you do your bottom bit first, because we know that that's going to be bigger. It's those little sweeping action. Because you've mixed the green, you'll get some bits of split out. You can see, I can see it happening already, which is the burnt sienna splitting out, which is a really nice effect. Then we're going to work our way up. So you've got these sort of little flick outs. You can basically go as big as you want. I'm going to keep the Christmas tree quite central. And I want this really nice soft effect. I might take another little Christmas tree just towards the back here. So you can just have a little play really. As it starts to get drier, you're much more in control with this colour. So I'm going to stick another one in here in the distance as well. And that lovely split out is happening. Okay, so then I've got some neat rows, and I'm just going to take little dots on. So I'm only going to do this on the front tree. Rinse my brush out. I've got some cadmium yellow. So cadmium yellow is opaque, so you should get an impression of this happening in here on the green. As long as you're going neat, you will be able to see it. It's a little bit of each, and then this is cadmium orange, again opaque, so should show. So it's using the right watercolour for what you need it for. So we need these to show. That's a nice subtle effect. So I've just popped a little bit of burnt umber out. It's needed something for the trunk of the tree. I'm just going to pop in a little bit of a trunk. Rinsing my brush, dabbing it into the water. I'm going to soften this in. So it's going to take that paint, create a little bit of a shadow. If it runs too far, then I just want you to dab onto the kitchen towel and take a little bit back. We're looking for a nice sort of frosty effect. With a nearly dry brush, you can do a lot of altering and manipulating when it flows a little bit too far. You can take a little bit of the Prussian blue, just create a little bit more shadow, definition here. So we'll go frosty blue. And a little bit here, look. So we're just going to ground these because they're a bit floaty at the minute. So just with a tiny wash of the Prussian blue, and then a clean damp brush can just touch the bottom and soften that in. You're getting that nice frosty effect. Okay, so that's nicely dried off now. So what I can do is just come in with some of that same green paint and just start to emphasize a little bit more detail. So it's a lovely soft effect at the moment, and you could just leave it like that, or you can work within this soft effect and just bring in some extra flicky branches, and it will just start to give it a bit more depth. So you want to keep these in groups, you want to keep them towards the centre, and you'll leave that softness to happen on that outside edge. So I'm just doing little flicky bits. If you want to make it a little bit darker, if you take some of that Prussian blue in, you'll get a little bit of a darker kick. Just avoid those little baubles and lights we've put in. Just little flicks. It gives it a little bit more texture. It's the simplest really of Christmas cards. You can do most of it all in one go. And who doesn't love a Christmas tree? You see that depth it's got now in comparison to the ones behind. And I've not touched anything near this edge, so you've still got that lovely soft effect. We don't want to lose that. Give my brush a bit of a rinse. With any of the phthalo pigments, it does tend to stick a little bit on your brush. You've got to be a bit more thorough when you're rinsing, because they do tend to stick and stain. I'm going to bring a little bit of shadow just down that side and bring a little bit of shadow over where that brown is, really. So it's just adding depth and dimension to it, really. This is just giving me a little bit of an indication of that lovely tree trunk. And if I want to just soften in, this is a damp brush, just that edge. So you've got hard shadow, and that makes a really, really pretty Christmas card. Nice simple design. I can bring this a little bit up close for you. So you can use whatever colours you've got to pop into here, as long as they're opaque. Even gouache would work, a bit of ink would work. It's a really nice simple effect.